back, this is Anand. In previous video you have seen how to create virtual machine for Red Hat Enterprise Linux 5. Now in this section I'll teach you how to install Linux 5 on virtual machine environment. For this I have already created that computer, you have seen in the previous section. If not, I would recommend you to watch the previous video and you can get the idea how to create virtual machine. Now, as of now, I would just start the computer so that we can go through with the installation process. For this, I would power on this virtual machine clicking on this icon, or I can click on this option as well. Once your computer is started, you need to go to BIOS and ensure the system is booting from DVD. So my computer is properly configured and it has booted from DVD now. There is no problem for me. At the installation is concerned, you would find there are three types of installation. One, you can use the graphical mode either to install or to upgrade. If you have Linux 4, you can upgrade, or you want to install computer or upgrade computer in Linux text mode, you can type Linux text. In graphical mode, you can press enter, or you can use any other function keys to go to kernel, general option, some other rescue mode and so on. Here you can also type Linux ask method. The ask method would ask you some certain questions. So Linux ask method and graphical mode both have the same thing, there is no problem. I would press enter key to start the installation process. So after the installation process has started, it would load some necessary files, as every operating system have some necessary files to install. So that the same thing happens in Linux also, there is no problem at all. And soon after, it would start the Red Hat Enterprise Linux Server installation mode. So you can see on the screen, it's loading all those files. Now at this stage, the setup asks you to check installation media before you install. It is just because to secure, save and secure your data and save your time, so that it might be the DVD or ISO image which you have used is having some problems. If you're having some problem during the installation, it would give you a problem or might not install operating system completely, and hence you have to face troubles. So before you face any trouble, it's recommended by Red Hat Enterprise that you should test the media unless you trust. I trust the DVD because I know either you can test. So if you want to test, you have to use enter key here because OK is already selected. If you want to switch over the next screen or next option, you have to press tab and press enter key to skip. So once the media test is being skipped, the installation process would probe for video card. Video card is actually for display, and after the video card is being probed, it would start the installation process. So this is the installation screen as we had started in graphical mode. In graphical mode, it would give you menu driven option where you can select and you can specify and customize installation process. So as of now, I would click next. What would be the installation language? Here you can specify the installation language. There are around 100 languages available here. You can select the available language basis on your region and basis on your understanding. For me, it's English, so I would select English and then I would click next. Keyboard style format. So my computer is connected with the US English keyboard, so I would select US English keyboard. If you having any other keyboard like French keyboard or Spanish keyboard, you can select those keyboard layouts from here. So as of now, US keyboard is selected. I would click next, and now the installation process asks you to enter a license key. License key is also called license number or installation number. as we are evaluating this one, it's an evaluation copy of Red Hat Linux 5. So I can skipping the installation number is not going to take any effect on the computer. You can use the full fledged of Linux operating system. For this, you need not to activate. Yeah, there are a few things like the services, updates, patch management, and some other services which must be working on only on the registered version of Linux installation. So as of now, we are not going to do that one. I would just skip entering in installation number. Later on, if in future we have purchase license key, we can enter from any other from the console or from the terminal. Later on, I would be giving one video on it as well. So as of now, just skip entering number and click OK. So as we have skipped, there are certain things. It's like a we can say warning, or it's just a message. What would you get after the installation number is being entered, and what you won't get that are being listed here. So as of now, just click on skip. It's not required. After we have skipped the license key, it would initialize the hard disk which is being connected on Linux computer. So it's just initialization warning. If you click on yes, it would initialize the drive and it would erase existing data on the hard disk. So if you are using any existing computer, I would recommend you to back up all those files, whatever the necessary files you want, and then you click on yes, or then after you start the process. So as of now, for me, data is not much concerned. I would just click on yes, and then after, the Linux installation process would ask you to specify partition scheme layout. The partition scheme layout, there are predefined partition scheme layout which are being discussed by developers. So the first layout says it would remove all the partitions on the selected drive and it would create default layout specified by developers. The next scheme allows you to remove all Linux partition and it would create default layout on the selected drive. If there are Windows partition, the Windows partition would not be affected at all. If I use the third option, like use free space on the selected drive and create default layout, it means it would select only free space on this hard disk. It would leave Linux partition if there is Linux partition already available. It would also leave Windows partition if there is Windows partition available on this drive, and then it would create the default layout on only free space. Or I can customize. So any of this I can go. For ease of installation, you can click on remove all partition on the selected drive and create default layout. And then you can see there is the drive which is being selected. The drive information has been given. It's a 40,955 MB. It's like a 40 gig of hard disk. So once you have selected, there is no problem. Click next. So it's asked you whether you want to remove all the partition on the selected drive, whether you are sure or not. So you have to click on yes, and once you click yes, it would ask you to specify network information, the network device information, the network device which is also called NIC, network interface card. At the time of boot, whether it would be active. If you select this one, it would be active. If you unselect, this would be inactive. Then what is the device name, how the IP would be assigned, whether it would be DHCP IP or DHCP subnet mask. And then after, you can specify the host name. The host name must be set by DHCP server, or you can also specify your own computer name. For example, I would specify server1.example.com. So it might be one name I'm giving to my computer, and then after you can click on next. It's absolutely fine. You can use the first option as well, like automatically via DHCP, or later on also you can change the computer name. That's not much concern. So let's go ahead with the manual name for the customization. Click next. In this location, At this point, you have to specify where your computer is located and what is the region. You have to select the region from the map, or you can specify you can select the region and city from where the time zone would be mapped. So you can specify any of the timing. As of now, I'm not going to do anything, and I would just click on next. Later on you can modify if you want. Okay, so now at this particular window, you need to specify root password. Root password is as equivalent to administrator password in Windows computer. So root password must be secure password, must be complex, must be a hard to guess password. It might be a combination of symbols, upper and lowercase characters and numbers. So for me, I have just typed a password. You can specify any number of password. That same password you need to confirm. This password is for administrative purpose. So whenever you want to do certain changes, you want to modify your computer, you have to switch as a root account. You have to log in as root account, and when you are trying to log in as root, you need to specify this password. So you have to remember this password as well. Don't forget this one. Then after you click next. So after this, the final stage is ask you whether you would customize this computer for software development or for web server. These are the two very popular services for mostly Linux computers are being used. It's not necessary that you should specify now. You can specify later as well. So I would better go with the customize later option and click on next. So it would check the dependencies in the package for the selected installation. After the dependencies have been checked, it would ask you or allow you to go for that next further screen where you can continue the installation process. During installation process, your system might restart several times. Your system might ask you some other information post installing Linux 5 on your computer. So till the process is continuing, you need to wait and watch. It's not necessary you have to observe. You just have to observe and you have to just sit relax, because after you have specified certain settings, the Linux computer would automatically be installed. So as it's almost the checking dependency is finished, and you would find the next screen would come up very soon. Yeah, so like this one. So it's almost set. When we are installing, there would be a log file. The log file would be found under root install.log is the file name after you reboot the system. There is the kickstart file. Kickstart file is used for automatic installation. It's like the network installation, you can say. It might you don't have installation DVD, you don't want to install from the DVD, you having a network server and then you want to install from there. For that, kickstart file is being used. So kickstart file can be found under root. The file name is Anaconda. Anaconda is the installer name. -ks is the kickstart file, and .cfg is the configuration file extension. So it's no problem. We cannot modify anything here as of now. So you just have to click next, and the installation would begin. So till the installation is going on, I'm going to pause the computer because it would take around 20 to 25 minutes, or even basis on the computer configuration it might take several time. It might be more than 20 or minimum to 20 as well. There is no particular limitation of time. So till the process is going on, I'm going to pause this video, and soon the installation has started and finished. Soon the installation has finished. After post installation, there are some configuration which you have to do, so I would show you that configuration after post Linux installation. Till that time, I'm going to pause this video. So you can see now the installation is continuing. It might take 8 or 10 minutes. So hopefully within 10 minutes you can get your Linux computer ready to use. 2 more minutes to go. Now it's almost finished. Just wait and pause for till 2 minutes. It would again might restart, because we have to restart that system. Okay, so you can see the Linux installation is completed. Now you need to reboot your system to configure post installation settings. The system would take a bit of time, as it is the very first boot. After the system is rebooted, it again start the installation process. It's like actually the post installation process, asking some information including date and time setting, including customization of account creation, and so on. So here we go. You can see the system is setting host name, starting firewall, starting networking services, and then after it would start power management services, SSD, email, mouse services, network support, first time boot configuration. You can click on show details as well, and it would be showing you all those details also. Yes, so this is the post installation configuration window. You need to click on next or forward actually to continue the license agreement term. Yes, we have already agreed, so click forward. What would be the status of firewall, Linux firewall, if your computer is connected to internet or network? So by default, firewall is enabled and it only trusts SSH service. If you want any other services to be trusted, you need to check the boxes next to that service name. Later on, you can customize. I would just accept the default, click forward. What would be the SE Linux setting? SE Linux is the security enhanced Linux. It's just like a firewall, but it controls certain connections from network, and within network from outside of the network also. So as of now, just let it in enforcing mode. You can disable also. If you disable, everyone is allowed. If you click permissive, it might ask permission. So as of now, let it be enforcing. It would not allow anybody. KDump is called kernel dump memory. It's whenever your system faces any problem and it requires to dump the crash log or crash information, if you enable KDump, it would record that information. For that, it would require some memory. See, it's better to enable KDump for system recovery processing. So as of now, the system has automatically configured necessary KDump memory, so you need not to do anything. If you have less RAM, you need not to enable better. So keep it disable if you're having less RAM than 2 gig. If you're having 1 gig, keep it disable as well. So click forward. Yeah, obviously to change the setting for KDump, you need to reboot the system, so we can reboot next time. The date and time configuration, you can select the current date and time. You can customize the time as well if it is some other time. For example, as of now it's 10:24, then click forward. Additional softwares, if you're having additional software you want to register yourself, you need to specify, yes, I would like to register now, but I don't have registration key, so I would skip. No, I'll prefer to register at a later time, and then click forward and click no thanks, I'll connect later. Then after click forward, you need to type one username, at least one user. So if I type username like this, what would be the full name? You can specify full name, password for that user, and confirm the password and click forward. Here, test the sound. If you click on the sound test button, it would play sound. If you can listen sound, it means the sound driver is detected. And yes, listen the sound, so it's okay, no problem. Then click forward. If you have any additional driver or any additional software you want to install, insert the CVD and insert the CD and click on install option, or you can better install later time as well, so there is no problem. Finally you can click on finish and system would reboot to take the necessary effect after the post configuration. So post installation, whatever the configuration we did, the system would reboot with the configuration and information which we changed, and then it would give you the logon screen. So till that time you have to wait. And yes, this is the login or a booting screen. It boots. There are some processes, so it would go on. Till that time you have to wait. So again, it's the same process. It starts all services, and then it gives you the login prompt where you need to type username. So if I would be root, I need to type root account, or you can type any other account if you have already created, but initially you have been root account only, and the account which we have configured after the installation process. So you type the password. If the password and username are correct, you would be logged onto the computer. And this is the Linux desktop. It gives you all the computer icon, root home, trash folders. There are certain settings. From here you can log out root, and you can log in using another account as well. So let's test whether that account is working or not. Yes, so that account also works. Here also you can have logout option or lock the screen. So log out from that user. So for the Linux installation we have done. I hope you understand and you learned. I welcome your comments, suggestions.